So this Love Island star got kicked off of Love Island USA after fans uncovered some racist social media posts she didn't think anybody would find. Cierra Ortega found out the hard way that even if you delete it, nothing ever really disappears from the internet, especially not when internet detectives get involved. It was actually fans of Love Island who found surprising posts of hers that contained anti-Asian slurs that range all the way back to 2015 and even as recently as 2023. But before we dive into the details, let me fill you in for all of you who are asking yourselves, who is Cierra Ortega? Well, Cierra Ortega is a 25-year-old social media influencer from Arizona who's of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent. She's collaborated with huge brands like Skims and Urban Decay and attended the University of Arizona where, get this, she received cultural sensitivity training? And obviously, I want to make sure I'm sensitive to the matter, but honestly, the irony just writes itself. And just to make sure we're on the same page, I'm gonna give you a quick Love Island crash course. So, Love Island is a reality dating show where a group of singles live together in a big villa. They try to pair up as couples and form romantic connections. And if someone isn't in a couple, well, they risk being eliminated. Then the public votes on their favorite couples and they help decide who gets to stay. At the end, one couple wins a cash prize, and they're given the choice to either split the money or let one person keep it all, which tests whether their connection was real or just a strategy. And now that we're on the same page, I'm gonna show you that Love Island doesn't exactly have the greatest track record when it comes to their contestants and racism. Again, before we go any deeper, I think it's important to note this isn't the first time a situation like this happened on Love Island. Does anybody else remember Yulissa Escobar from season 7?
I'm here to find my knight and shining armor. I want that movie kind of love. I'm Yulissa, age 27. I own a mobile bar in Miami, Florida. I'm super fun. I'm like this bundle of joy that just came out of nowhere.
She was removed from Love Island too for saying some racist stuff, to say the least. Here, you'll see what I mean. I guess nobody's safe with this bunch. Listen closely to this clip and you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about.
That controls what she wears, or yeah, you my perfect, but that's it. Like now I'm my he's my like bye babe.
I'm not the one to typically post the tea, but what's going on? Were the casting directors even in the room? Did they even interview them? Did they ask them questions? Did they do a social media dive? They took so long to drop the cast for this to be the cast. Oh.
I mean, clearly the fans caught it, but you're trying to tell me the producers didn't? Or are they just trying to ignore it? Well, whether or not they were, they had no choice once the fans literally forced their hand to do something about it. Fans were upset about how it was being dealt with by the production. Instead of making a big announcement on the show, Yulissa was just quietly let go. I mean, check out this clip.
Welcome back to Love Island USA. Yulissa has left the villa. The Islanders are waking up minus Shelley and Nick, who vanished into the hideaway with their bombshell.
So Yulissa just hurls this crazy loaded slur on a pretty decently sized podcast, and all the angry fans get is this? Regardless, she's a story for another video, but it may just be revealing a pattern of some sloppy background checks being done by the production team. Now, let's get back to Cierra and get into these posts. As I said earlier, these racially insensitive posts went back over 8 years. And while I'm not gonna go through every single one, here are some of the most notable ones courtesy of the New York Post. You can use your imagination as to what they mean. Now, it's important to note here it wasn't just one or two of them, there were quite a few more, all containing the same sort of cultural insensitivity that her training was supposed to protect against. So I can't help but ask, how did she even make it onto the show? How did producers not see this? Don't they vet the contestants before they come on? I mean, if it wasn't for the fans, who knows if anyone would have even acknowledged the situation. But wait, there's even more to the story. Let's jump into the fans' perspective. As expected, fans of Love Island were furious. They started a petition that gained over 17,000 signatures demanding Cierra gets kicked off the show. Now, they thought a petition might get things going because production was too slow to react. It almost felt as if they were waiting it out, hoping the fans would forget. But some fans were even claiming that this may have all been a cover-up. And honestly, the evidence might be a little more convincing than you expect. We're gonna take a quick trip through the archives so you know what I mean and we're all on the same page. Do you think this was a cover-up? I mean, you be the judge. So Cierra shows up on the island full of confidence and honestly looking like a real main character in the show. And you'll notice that Ortega and Nick had a little bit of chemistry as well. They eventually turned that chemistry into a solid bond and they ended up coupled up on the show, staying strong through the horrible recouplings. Well, that was until Casa Amor at least. So basically, one person stays at one of the villas while the other gets sent to another with no communication with each other for a whopping 3 days. and this is especially tough, I guess, if you can't keep it in your pants. So basically, bro was getting a little busy, at least until he gets back home. Because when he does, Nick and Cierra reconnect. They recommit to each other and actually go on to make Love Island history and become the first closed-off, aka exclusive, couple on the show. And right then, poof, like TV magic, the production team waved their wand and Cierra was gone.
Welcome back to Love Island USA. Cierra has left the villa due to a personal situation, leaving Nick officially single.
And Nick, well, he got back with Olandria, of course. The friend, by the way. Word of advice, always watch out for the friend. Anyways, so we're supposed to believe she got the boot for personal reasons? And the guy that just got his heart broken immediately ends up with his friend? I don't know, sounds a little too convenient. How do you spell potential cover-up? I'll teach you in a second. There is one clip the producers weren't able to cover up. Some fans claim you can hear her yelling in the following audio.
Bro, ain't no way they have audio Cierra being dragged out kicking and screaming.
Both align ourselves with kind of match. He's so cute, right? Am I tripping?
Wait, hold on, one more time.
Cute, right? Am I tripping?
Hold on, let me slow it down.
So cute, right? Am I tripping?
Cierra says she ain't leaving without a fight. That's crazy. Now, I've been seeing conflicting theories as to who that really was. A lot of people were saying it sounds more like Amaya and she was probably defending Cierra. Which tracks? That definitely does seem like something Amaya would do. But I don't know, for some reason I kind of feel like that was actually Cierra. Which would make sense because last episode was the most dry, stale, emotionally dead episode we've seen in a long time. Like, you could tell before we knew she was taken out that the air was just sucked out of the villa.
Now fans are saying you can hear her yelling, "You can't do this," as she's leaving. And then from there, the audio cuts out. Some fans are even reporting that this audio was removed in different airings of the show. So something definitely feels off here. And honestly, with the Love Island team fighting for their lives to keep their brand image squeaky clean, it all kind of starts to add up. Okay, so now this is when the backlash starts. Love Island has had lots of Asian cast members come through the show. And of course, they weren't too happy with our girl Cierra. Isabel Ann Walker, a model from Hawaii with Filipino heritage, said, "I'm a proud Asian American woman. I'm deeply appreciative of the Love Island USA producers for taking a stand and making it clear that racism of any kind is not tolerated. Asian hate is oftentimes overlooked and dismissed, but being a first-generation American, I have personally witnessed and experienced how real and hurtful comments like these are. It is my hope that this situation can shed some light on how big of an issue anti-Asian hate actually is." Now, Cierra has shown remorse and claims to have never known about the deep historical pain that this word holds within the Asian community. Here's an apology video where she attempts to set the record straight.
I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to speak up about the news that's come to light recently, and now that I've been back in the US for about 48 hours and I've had the chance to process, I now feel like I'm at a space where I can speak about this without being highly emotional because I am not the victim in this situation. While I was in the villa, there were some posts that resurfaced from my past where I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term. And before I get into the details, I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly so sorry. I had no idea that the word held as much pain, as much harm, and came with the history that it did, or I never would have used it. I had no ill intention when I was using it, but that's absolutely no excuse because intent doesn't excuse ignorance. It just doesn't. And I just need you to know that I am so sorry, but this is not an apology video. This is an accountability video. I do want to hold my hands up and say that I take accountability for using the word, but I do want it to be known that I genuinely had no idea that it was a slur. I had no idea of its meaning, and it wasn't until I made the public story post in 2024 when a follower of mine reached out to correct me and let me know that what I was saying was incredibly hurtful. It was a derogatory term. It was a slur. And in that moment, I was embarrassed. I, of course, immediately deleted the post. I was apologetic and I educated not only myself on the true meaning and the history of the word, but also anyone around me who was accidentally holding space.
Now, this is a really tough situation to watch because it's all pretty shrouded in speculation. Some will ask, How do we know that she truly didn't know that the word was offensive? Now, of course, there are receipts, but we can't always trust what we see on the internet nowadays, especially given that she took that cultural sensitivity training. But on the other hand, there's the argument that just because she didn't know doesn't mean she's innocent, which she obviously acknowledges in the video. So I guess the question is, are you a criminal if you commit a crime that you didn't know was a crime? Not that this is a crime, but I mean, the anger within the Asian community is more than justified, and more awareness is definitely needed. But this next part is where it gets even tougher to watch.
What's been extremely, extremely difficult is the way people are approaching my family and my loved ones. You know, they have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home. I'm receiving death threats. Like, there's no need to fight hate with hate. I don't think that that's justice. And if you want to know that you're heard and that I'm sorry and that I will move differently, I promise you that's what will happen.
So as you can see, things really escalated. Cierra started receiving death threats, and her parents even started getting calls from ICE because people were trying to get her deported. And honestly, it should never go this far. Her parents put out the following statement condemning these actions. We understand why people are upset, and we know accountability matters, but what's happening online right now has gone beyond far. The threats, the cruel messages, the attacks on her family, her friends, even her supporters, it's heartbreaking. It's uncalled for, and no one deserves that kind of hate, no matter what mistake they've made. Guys, this is a difficult situation all around, but it does open up some hard questions. Is there a way back for Cierra? I don't know, but here's an even bigger question. Should we hold celebrities to higher standards of conduct than everyone else? Or is the problem that sometimes we don't even have enough standards in general? Now, this might be a little controversial, but why are we sometimes harsher on reality stars than politicians? Now, was this inexcusable? Yes. Unforgivable? Maybe. But situations like this are often black and white, and there's usually a healthy dose of gray in between. Let me know what you think in the comments, and check out what happens when TikTok streamers film the inside of strangers' houses.